First of all, I must say that most of the Mexican academics points out that Mexican and Mexican Americans are not considered to be a diaspora. The second dominant point is that in the case of being a diaspora, they are not politically active and its lobbying is ineffective. Well, you know, the research, the academic research is, challenging the aesthetics concepts. So that's why I am working in having or finding evidence to, to challenge these dominant points. Yes. Retaining the collective memory of a vision or a myth, a commitment to the maintenance or re-establishment of the homeland as a guarantor of its cohesion under an ethno-communal consciousness. In this case, the Mexicans abroad, especially the ones in the United States, have these characteristics. Robin Cohen, another classic, defined diaspora as a set of groups of individuals residing outside the borders of their country of origin in at least 2 or 3 different regions as a result of traumatic events that border them. In the Mexican case, the US war against Mexico in 1848 and the Mexican Revolution of 1910 and 1920 represent those traumatic events. Not necessarily the economic reasons that push the Mexican migrants during the 20th century to go to the United States. Another expert in this concept, Dominic Schnepper, defines diaspora or says that the concept must be reserved for populations that still maintain institutionalized links beyond the frontiers of nation states. He says that it is useless to distinguish whether the dispersion has been provoked by political persecution, economic misery, and a project of colonization, commerce, or culture, because diaspora comprises multiple meanings. And at the end, Jose Moya said that this concept has changed from 1968 to date. I mean, the concept that defined the paradigmatic case, in this case the Jewish case, or used to define also the community of Armenians abroad, has changed. And one of the most important things is the degree of dispersion and interconnection among its organizations. The new concept describes groups that have dispersed throughout the world, regardless of whether their disciplines are forced or not, from the relative prominence of the idea of return to their ethnocultural discourses. So that's why I consider the Mexican communities abroad that work together, that make pressure on the host government and also in the government of the country of origin, as a diaspora, because they are coordinated to work together to push for common interest. In the second point that is has prominence in the current discussion of the concept, the one that said that the Mexicans abroad are not politically active and its lobbying is ineffective. Well, Josie Shain said that the diaspora's core are made up of well-organized elites of a group who mobilize the community. So in this case, the Jewish communities, the Armenian communities, the Cuban American communities, have the core or the elite politically mobilized or permanently mobilized, but only it's a core, not necessarily the whole community. The majority are passive members who second the core group in mobilizations. And most of the people at the diaspora are silent members of the group. So these 3 points, are very critical in the definition of the Mexicans abroad as a diaspora. But as we can see, most of the diasporas have these characteristics. So I'm going to present some information. In this context, the general objective of this discussion is to challenge the dominant narrative related to the Mexican diaspora in the US and to analyze, by the way, its different strategies developed to influence the US political system. My definition of Mexican diaspora is that It is the group of people made up of Mexican immigrants and their descendants born there, known as Mexican Americans, that keep strong and institutional links with Mexico. I also identified the coalition of networks of Mexican migrants and the councils, federations, and clubs of Mexican-born U.S. residents as part of the diaspora. As you can see in this graphic, most of the U.S. citizens of Mexican descendants that have strong links to Mexico, with Mexico, and the Mexican population in Mexico. The paradigmatic cases, which are Jewish, Cuban, and Armenian communities in the United States, developed three kinds of strategies. They identified what the Foreign Agents Registration Act allowed them to do. They worked to change the American public's perception toward their issues of concern, and they also identified the key players in Washington and made pressure on them. The Mexican diasporic organizations have learned to do this. And that's why, for NAFTA's approval, they helped the Mexican president to get the approval of NAFTA with, George Bush in 1999. They made pressure on the congressman for the approval of NAFTA. And from this point, or since this time, a process of institutional link started from this point between Mexican government and Mexican diaspora in the U.S. to work together in common issues of concern. In 1996, the Mexican government approved the double nationality law, which allowed the Mexican abroad to opt for nationality different to the Mexican one without losing it. They could nationalize and defend themselves as Americans by obtaining legal status against the racist policies of that country, the United States. With the law of dual nationality, President Cedillo hoped that Mexicans would opt for U.S. citizenship not only to defend their community rights, but also to create a for Mexico lobby in the terms in which Jewish groups did it for Israel. That's why Mexican President Fox, former president, says that it was clear that their growing access to the political and economic circles in that country opened the door to Mexican issues. So, in this case, to conclude, why is Mexican diaspora a factor of the bilateral relationship? Well, Mexican origin population in the United States represent at least 10% of the whole U.S. population. If they were a separated country, they would be the 11th economy of the world. Their economic power of consuming is about $1.3 trillion annually. In 2014, remittance to Mexico from the U.S. reached $23.6 billion, 77.8% greater than the level reached in 2013. According to Bank of Mexico, from 2005 and 2015, the accumulated remittance inflows exceeded the $21.3 billion at the minimum level. So this year, the remittance reached the annual amount of $26 million. So they represent nowadays the first source of income for Mexico above oil and foreign direct investment. So unfortunately, my time is over. But if you have some thoughts or more issues of concern to discuss, welcome. Thank you very much.